the side.
You've mentioned a kiosk, my guy. Well,
Yeah.
there's a kiosk that a wholesale business that almost got me arrested. You know, there's a time I really ate quails, eh? the business, the market one day just woke up and
They were not interested in queers anymore.
yeah. I moved in on a Sunday, and then the movers were like, "So to buy your food," I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, you know it's courteous, right?"
Yeah.
So I go to my app.
Yeah.
I was like, "Am I buying food? Am I buying tokens?" So I called my pal. I said, "Hey, my guy, send me 10 G."
Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of Financially Incorrect. I am your host, Barack. I like that nowadays I say my name. The first, I think, 12 episodes I didn't. So yes, I'm your host, Barack, and this is Financially Incorrect, a cheeky take on serious financial topics. Please remember, on the 24th of November, Friday, from 4 p.m., we have a live recording at Skate City, which is in Westlands, the Parklands, which is in Parklands. We're having a debate on employment against entrepreneurship. What's the journey one should take, and what are the good and bad things for either or. We'll have a panel of people from both sides. Hopefully we have a fantastic debate. Please be sure to come. Today I have a hotly, I don't know if it's contested or weighted episode. Today I have Frankie, aka Media MK, here on set with me. We had wanted to talk to him, and then he reached out and he was like, "We need to do this." So here we are. Hi Frank, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. How's I know you've just gotten a job recently, but
Yeah.
how was your unemployment stint?
My fun employment.
How long did it last?
Unemployment.
Yeah.
So I left corporate in May this year. So I'd given myself a year to be out of work.
Okay.
And I did passion projects. So I do a lot of strategic management classes. I help clients, profile themselves from an executive perspective. I had time to do a lot of stuff with my family. Some plant dad shit. So fixing my car. My car was showing me dust for a long time, and I needed time to fix it properly because I don't want to sell it. And then this job came along.
Were you fixing it yourself? Like, were you fixing it?
I wanted to learn how to
I see.
what was wrong with the car.
Is it a BMW?
No, it's a Volkswagen and
Golf?
No, it's a Passat.
Okay.
So what happened is for a long time I used to be those guys of take the keys. I don't care if the car is on rocks. Fix it and bring it to me once I hear something wrong. And so there was this issue where it was burning too much oil, and no one could figure out what the problem was until I met someone who said, "Let's listen to the engine with a stethoscope." And I was like, I want to be next to this guy when he's doing all these things. And so I've learned a lot about the engine, why it had all those issues. It's completely fixed now, so the car runs like a dream. And I guess it's a learning curve. I never wanted to learn about cars. I've always been, I'm not a car person. I'm not fascinated by, vehicles. I've had very simple cars. I've had complex cars, but, it's not something I'm really keen on.
Yeah.
If I can be in a taxi forever, that would work for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So as opposed to employing a driver, but like a taxi, like completely outsource the...
Yes, the process. The thing is, I wouldn't want to have a driver because I make a lot of phone calls in the car. And in a taxi, it's easy for me because once I'm out of the taxi, maybe I'll never see the guy again.
Yeah.
Whatever he's heard, whoever he tells, that's his problem.
Yeah.
A driver for me it's a risk factor.
Yeah.
And now the reason I can't take that taxi route now is because I live so far. And every time I'm in a taxi, it costs me maybe 1,800 shillings to 2,000 bob one way. And so what happens is I look at the cost of commuting with a taxi and I'm like, that's like 5K or 4K in one day.
Yeah.
That's money that could be spent doing a lot more things. I like to equate the money I spend outside my house with things in my house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's like 25% of my mboche's salary.
Yeah.
And I feel there's that guilt that you feel
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
few minutes. Yeah. So that's why I'm not in that taxi thing
Yet.
so much. So, but also like now I like driving because of Uhuru's fantastic expressway.
Expressway.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you are the people who are being built. Anyway, let's.
I'm not joking. It was built for me because I moved to Syokimau
Yeah.
maybe a year before it was. No, actually, I moved to Syokimau the month they broke ground. And we had all this, everyone is saying they're going to build an expressway, and Mombasa Road was dreadful. And thankfully, I was working from home, so I wasn't commuting every day. So, but now it made it easier. So, in fact, when they announced that the road is now going to be motorable, I was calling everyone. So, this ETC.
How do you get your hands?
And it was around the campaign season.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
telling someone who's now a governor, I was like, I will dance on top of a truck for you.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, vijana na, if you
Yeah.
can get me the ETC, because
Yeah.
we didn't know how to get them. But now it just made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
When you count the cost of running your car on the expressway versus the time savings, fuel savings, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. I'm really looking forward to this. But before we get into it,
Yes.
I have to ask you, because we're getting into the festive season.
Yes.
What's the best Christmas gift you've ever got?
Oh. A TV.
A TV.
Yeah. Someone bought me the TV I currently have, actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is it one of those TVs that are like the size of human beings?
I think it's like a 65-inch. Yeah.
Why was it so good?
So during COVID, so I used to live in Hurlingham, and we had so Lion King was showing, the movie was showing, and I didn't know the difference between smart TVs and digital TVs.
I can
So-
tell you for sure, I do not know the difference.
So
Those two at the moment.
a smart TV
Yeah.
runs on like an Android OS, and will carry more apps, right? So I had a digital TV. So, and I used to connect it to an Apple TV. So, I would run on the apps on the Apple TV. But then for Lion King, I think it was running on Disney or something, and I couldn't get it. So someone suggested we download an app. I'm like, I go to the native thing
Right.
on the TV.
Right.
There's nothing.
It doesn't have it.
It doesn't have it. So I was whinging, I was complaining. We got a workaround. My friends and I did this Lion King night. And then the person was not really pleased with that situation. Like, it felt really, it was such a long process. Those things are breaking between, like you're watching something and then it
Buffering.
just buffers or starts showing you ads from some random country.
We know those ads.
Yes. So he was like, this is all working for me.
Yeah.
So the person went and bought, called me
good TV.
one Friday afternoon, and I was like, a TV is coming to your house. So I was like, what will I do with the other one? I used to live in a one bed. What am I going to do with the other TV?
Yeah.
Sell it. Like, okay. The TV came with brackets, and also that's your Christmas present. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second question.
Yeah.
Again, around December, January period.
Yeah.
Have you ever spent your December salary in those last, how you'd get paid early in December? You get paid by
Yeah.
22nd usually.
My former employer used to pay us on the 17th.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you ever been in a situation where by the time you get into January, you've finished everything in this December holidaying, so January is just a mess?
Yeah. In fact, when was this? So went on a bender. So, Christmas time, it's family time. We're doing well. My friend was like, let's go to Nanyuki. We're like, cool. So drove down to Nanyuki, 3 of us, having the time of our lives. We were supposed to come back on the 1st of January. That morning, someone calls her and says, I see you're in the area. Come down, like further down. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. So we drove down to the place and we ended up staying there for an extra week. Now, I was going through a legal process for something, and the I knew the money was there.
Yes.
The money was there.
Yeah.
That one I was not going to touch.
Yeah.
So I knew if I figure this point,
You're in trouble.
we're in shit.
Yeah.
So the whole time we're having the best time of our lives. Then the day of checkout, the bill, I was like, wow. There is trouble in paradise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I came back, I think midweek. The next day I had to go to the law firm. So I drew a check for the specific amount, took the paperwork and the check.
Yeah.
Then they were like, no, we don't take checks. You have to do
RTGS.
you have to do an online thing. And I was just like, do they know the reason I'm doing this? I'm paying you by a check so that I give myself a few days
to move some things
to
around.
move things around so that I become liquid. And
Yeah.
I was time barred
Yeah.
with the transaction.
Yeah.
Because it's those transactions that if it gets to a certain date,
Yeah.
it's an expiry.
Yeah.
It's a whole complex thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. So I went back, transferred that money, and I was like, if salt and bread is my portion, God, I swear I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. I promise. I promise. Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah. So that's a messy January now. I mean, moving from there to say the 40 days of January.
Yeah. And thankfully those days my landlord was lenient because I'd lived there for a while. So she wasn't expecting, rent for you to be, 28th, pay me now. So I was able to, extend.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, this can't happen again.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in my younger years, maybe we've done worse.
Yeah.
When I used to maybe live at home. Because then when you're living at home, most of your expenses are taken care of. Someone is paying for your food, your electricity. So you can really slide on, 2,000 bob for like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just get into it now.
Yeah.
First thing I want to ask is your concept of money.
Yeah.
And your understanding of concept of money. Did you pick that up from your parents, and was it direct or was it inadvertent?
Not from my parents. I've been around older people. So parents will tell you, don't waste money, don't waste money. But then I've been around people who are older than me. So I was able to see their progression in their career as I was, through college. And the concept of side hustles was sort of entrenched at that point. Because then I was able to see what money can do for people. There's a freedom that money gives you from a lot of bullshit. And I was able to see them thrive because they were able to pay for, courses. They were able to pay to move out of their parents' homes. So they were able to discover themselves quite early. They were able to sort of derive an independence because they had access to money, right? So that's how I learned about money from older people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to be wealthy? I guess when you're early on, when you're looking at, maybe 16, 17, 18, and you're looking at your life moving forward.
Yeah, you want money. I think the word is rich because at that age, you're not sure of what wealth looks like. You want money. You want to be able to blow it. You want to buy shoes. I wanted to be rich, right? And the path to get into richness wasn't quite clear, right? But now as I grow older, I'm not a fan of, being rich because being rich is to some extent is obscene. In my point of view, there's an obscenity with being rich because rich almost equates to being showy. It's decking yourself in Louis Vuitton. It's all these things.
Yeah.
So now I want to be comfortable for a long time, and that money therefore has to be, working for me, producing for me, and keeping me above a certain grade.
Lifestyle. Okay. And so as you're, I guess, that 16, 17, 18-year-old, are you then making a conscious decision about what you're going to study in school, how hard you're working in school,
No.
what you're looking at for university? Yeah.
Nah, it didn't work out the way I thought it would work out. Because I went into school for entrepreneurship development.
Okay.
And 2 years into the course, I met um, I met someone who owned a BPO basically, and they were qualifying leads. So he gave like 6 of us a job, and our job was to qualify leads. So ensure that all the information captured was correct, and that meant ringing up the people listed on the forms,
Right,
the
right.
data dump that we used to get.
Right.
So at that point, I was exposed to the media industry because he not owned, he was just appointed CEO of a local media house.
Okay.
So I started getting exposed to media stuff.
Right, right.
Now, then what happened? Yes, then the 6 of us, or not all of us, but maybe 4 of us from that group decided to start a blog. And the blog was started because we were very angry about the reporting from the Fourth Estate. So, and we decided to report on the Fourth Estate. And then from there, I branched out into radio for a few months. Then from radio, I moved into an agency environment.
And are you doing this at the opportunity cost of school? So you put
Yes, school. But then I did finish.
Okay.
I did finish. But then I capped it at year 3. So I ended up getting a higher diploma.
Okay.
So I was very excited. I was like, yes. But it's a very good, it ended up working for me much later in my career.
Okay.
Because entrepreneurship development basically allowed me to learn how to run a business.
Okay.
And I was able to do that within an environment that I didn't own, which is the best thing ever. You know, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm an intrapreneur. So basically, I'm playing risk with people's money and people's time and being rewarded for it. So it worked out for me. So the path ideally was you get from that, you go into a banking environment, It never worked out.
Yeah.
But thankfully I've worked with a lot of financial institutions in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many years is that? I'm trying to understand, I guess, within this, if we can call it first phase of your career,
Yeah.
what are the things that you're accomplishing in this period? What are the key milestones that you're hitting? Are you moving out of home at this point? Are you saving? Are you...
So I moved out of home when I was old. It was a mistake.
What is old?
So I was 26.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was 26. My friends had moved out. I was getting a lot of pressure because then when you go out, you have to go home.
Yes.
You know, and there's someone constantly calling you, and you get home, the gate is closed, and my mom had a few times had conversations with me on, you know, I'm not married to you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to be fighting dogs to open
come
the
and
gate.
open.
Yes. So I was like, I'll move out. And I moved out when I was 26. And because at that point, I had a lifestyle I was used to. I wanted to move.
Without expenses.
Yes. So I didn't want to break that lifestyle. So I found a place around Upper Hill, which was closer to the office. So I could walk to the office. But then the compromise was I had to move in with housemates. So it was a 4-bed, big-ass house, apartment in Upper Hill. And that's where my financial mistakes started. Because
Yeah.
the house was cheap. And therefore, I started having excess cash. And I'm like, I'm not living at my mom's house. I have excess cash. What do? You blow it. Going out, was doing trips. I went to Naivasha so many times in that 4 years I lived there. You know, people used to think Naivasha is my shags.
Because of how often you used to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm constantly there. So it was, and when I think back, it was, I should have saved a lot of money at that point if I'd moved out by myself. Because it would have given me financial discipline to know that these are bills that you can't touch. You can't run on empty. You know, because you have support of other people in the house. Because in a housemate setting, you have someone is paying for Wi-Fi. You've delegated the costs. So if I was doing them myself, I feel now
That
I would
you
have
would have.
done much better.
Okay.
If I wasn't in that setting.
Okay.
I mean, I have the vibes and
Yes.
the memories.
Yeah.
I would have been doing a whole lot better if I took the risk of moving in by myself and now being responsible for everything then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it ended up the whole arrangement collapsed in absolute chaos. We were being evicted.
Oh, that means you guys were paying rent, or what was
I
happening?
was paying rent.
So
The thing is,
Yeah.
I was traveling a lot.
Okay.
So I used to if I'm away for a period, I would pay for that period.
Okay.
My housemates would be like, whatever. The landlord was like, nah, this is not flying with me. So for 6 months, they didn't pay rent. So, and I came back and I was like, oh, okay, let's just sweet talk the landlady and then we can pay her in bits.
Right.
She said, no, if you want to stay in that house, you have to pay
Everything that you owe. Yeah.
yeah, I paid her everything with the promise that these other guys
Would pay you.
will pay me back.
Yeah.
It's been many years.
Yeah.
I'm still owed money.
Yeah.
I tried everything, demand letters, all those things.
And this is to now your three housemates who are there.
Well,
or
two of them.
Yeah.
One of them was very cordial.
Yeah.
But two of them up to this date. So that was a bad financial mistake because then it put me in a massive hole to move in by myself. Yeah. So that one, yeah,
Problematic. Okay.
problematic.
So, what do you achieve in your first, technically speaking, your first 5 years in your career? Like, what kind of positions are you moving up? Do you make cumulatively your first million in this first 5 years? What does that look like?
I mean, maybe the first 4 years. Actually, this question is interesting because I never know when someone says I made my first million.
Yeah.
Is it?
How do you define your first million?
Yes. How do you define your first million?
Yeah. I would say your first million would be when you have 1 million shillings in an account.
In an account.
In an account.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you have 1 million shillings of your own money.
Of your own money
in
in
an
cash.
account. Yeah, in cash in an
Okay.
account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in those, because I was there for 4 years. Yes, I was able to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how primarily I was able to even bail out everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought a car then, and then also that. So stupid thing, I'd bought a Nissan Tida, and my next goal was a C200. Because they were cute, they were nimble. I was like, oh my God, I want one. And so I was saving up for that. So I ended up never getting my C200 because I had to
bail these guys out.
I bailed these guys out.
Yeah.
And then I had to now spend a lot of money moving into my own place. And the thing about shared housing is it lies to you, so you become very lazy. So you never think that you only need to buy seats because there are seats in the house. There's a TV, there's a fridge, there's a microwave, there are carpets. The house is furnished. So you never think about those things yourself until you go out there. Curtains, and you realize, oh my God, I should have gradually gotten to this stage instead of buying everything, at once. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by this 5-year mark, are you now moving into agency? You're now in an
Proper.
agency space.
Agency space, leadership space.
Yeah.
So, the environment gets better, you get more exposure, your value grows, so you're being rewarded for that value.
Yeah.
So it just gets better.
Okay.
And then now that's when I started looking at, what else can I make money off?
Okay.
And start looking at, I can do side hustles.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of mistakes because I was thinking, I'm Kikuyu, I'm a Kikuyu man. I should go into farming. I should, look for land and go into chamas, and wasted a lot of money before I finally settled on what now I truly believe is what I'm able to comfortably work on as a side hustle and not compromise the quality of work I have to deliver for an employer. Yeah.
And what's that?
So basically strategic communication,
Also consulting with-
based on the knowledge base that I have acquired.
so rather than trying to do a kiosk or a supermarket on the side.
You've mentioned a kiosk.
Yeah.
There is a kiosk that a wholesale business that almost got me arrested. You know, it was such a cash dump. You know, you're just putting in money, and the margins are so slim. So you have to move. You have to move a lot of product,
Volume, yeah.
a lot of volume for it to start making sense for
Yeah.
you. Then your debt book is massive because you're dealing with a lot of retailers. So they come to you and they say, "Oh, you know, I'll pay on this date." Oh, stories, and you're not running the business. You're sitting in an air-conditioned office. You're just remote
Yeah.
handling,
Yeah.
you know, via WhatsApp and text messages and phone calls. You're never there.
Yeah.
So pilferage.
Yeah.
What? I've learned if I ever go into some businesses, I have to be there. I have to be there at 6.
One way or another.
Yes, I have to be physically there.
Yeah.
I can't do it remote.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation where you get into a fight with someone and
Yeah.
it gets almost nasty.
Okay.
You know.
Let me ask you, before we get into like, I guess the sort of, I guess what you're calling side hustles that you do, your opinion
Yeah.
on agency culture in Kenya as a whole.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking this, as I'm sure you know, is I don't know anyone who works in agency who had a healthy response or a positive response about work culture in agency. I hear about overworking, you know, too few hours, the what you call it, the timelines are too short,
Yeah.
the money is not enough. Yeah.
Well, here's my point of view.
Your personal point
My
of view.
point
Yeah.
of view.
Yeah.
So the environment is fast paced, number one. Number two, you have to look at what the output is. The output is a creative product. Creative products are not like you can't go to a vending machine to get that creative product. You won't punch in, read and get what you want. There's a whole process, and it's not structured. So a lot of people get lost in the lack of structure, and the timelines will catch up with you. And unfortunately, in this country rather, and no, actually, most African countries, there hasn't been a body that controls how vendors of creative services and consumers of the creative services relate to each other in terms of value of what's being offered, what are the timelines to work with, what is considered an ironclad contract. I used to get shocked working with workmates from other markets where it's very, very structured. The relationship is very cordial. You're not being seen as you're producing a product for me that I pay for, therefore I need to give you all the harshest words when I'm giving you feedback. They all mutually agree that this creative product is going to grow all of us, right? So in this market, we haven't had those standards set. So everything is everywhere at once, all the time, right? And you have to really steal yourself from the chaos for you to be able to cut through the clutter. And also noise. It's I'm a victim of succumbing to that noise where you've done really good work or what you think is really good work, and you're given that feedback, and you can't sleep, and you're so angry, and you're like, why can't they see that this is the idea that's going to give me, going to make me walk the stage in Cannes, So you really take on a lot of that personal feedback, and it takes a lot of work to separate yourself from the feedback. So you separate yourself. Is the feedback about the work, or is the feedback about me as a person? So it takes a lot of work for you to get to that perspective. And once you cross that threshold, it sort of becomes easier. But then it becomes easier because then you look around and you're like, this is not for me. And you just hang your boots and you walk away. Yeah.
Okay. And this I'm asking again based because we had Rama here who talked a bit about money and different what do you call it, pay scales as you go through this space. My question to you is, what made the money worth it for you? What about the money made it worth it for you through your career in agency?
Real impact of the work. And I was able to build fantastic work build fantastic teams, and build real impact for businesses. So you'd see a business come from here to here. So that made me want to do more and more and more and more until it got to a point you're like, okay, maybe let me try something else. Let me try a different perspective of things. But the what unlocked a yearning for me to do more is an understanding of the core product, right? So in every single business that you go into, you need to always think of what is the product. And once you work towards making the product better, making the product consumed by more customers, so your brands, your clients, whoever it is, your consumers celebrating your work, that you then get to a different perspective. But if you don't have a full view of what am I supposed to be delivering, what is the core product, then you will get really, really annoyed. Because sometimes, I would create things for myself and not for, for the benefit of, my consumer or my client, right? And you will get hurt if you don't consider their feedback. So that's what made me want to do more and more. And also, thankfully, exposure. I was able to work in different markets, so you meet different consumers.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of marketing is, it's psychology, human psychology. You get to meet so many different classes of people, and you get to understand so many things. So you become a sort of an encyclopedia of information.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. So you get to learn about how to make, what's the difference between butter and margarine. You get to understand load factors in an airline, So when you get a whole world view, and everything changes.
Yeah.
You become, you can almost always work in any industry because you have a lot of processes ingrained in you. You have a lot of knowledge about markets. And if you're curious to learn, that's the best industry because you're exposed to so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there ever a day in these 13, 14, 15 years where you went to bed and you're like, the money I am getting is not worth it?
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Was it,
times.
has it been throughout your career, or was it at the beginning, at the middle, at the end?
Oh, throughout. It's like any other job, really. I have friends. When I used to live with my housemates, one of my housemates was a doctor. So you can imagine a doctor's life is very hectic. So, and their days would come home and you look at him and he's looking like shit. And
Haggard.
And he's like, today was a hard day.
Yeah.
Then there are days he's had a really good day. So it's the same principle.
Yeah.
I guess we all, I don't believe in the perfection of a day. Because you can't, unless you live in a vacuum where you control every single element, things will always not work to your advantage. And once you psyche yourself to the fact that you can't be always in control, things flow better. But there are multiple days where it'll be like, hi, yeah. I think my mom is the one who maybe has a log of the days I've called and said, today. Then she's like, at the end of the day ends, go to bed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in your I guess in your career, I would say that you possibly would be defined to have had an envious career. And by envious, I mean a career that many people in the marketing world or the agency world would want to have. And before we got onto the actual, the cameras came on, we talked about, I guess, the different way that you went about being able to negotiate for your value, and and not have a conversation around with your employer or possible employer around payment for experience against value. Can you just expound on that a little bit and how you applied that for you and how it worked for you?
So it's simple. Businesses exist for profit.
Yeah.
You can't run away from it.
Yeah.
So what you do is look at how is that profit arrived at? What are those components of that profit? Are they, and then you align yourself towards those things. So is it, maybe I'm a good people person. So I align myself to, if good people will lead to good profit, I will, make sure that I bring in the best people into the business, or I'm going out and using my good people skills to bring in as many customers as possible. Maybe I'm good at understanding numbers and looking at data. So you look at that and say, oh, therefore research is important to create a perfect product. And a perfect product leads to profit, which is value for the business. Then you become good at doing that, distilling that research into actionable insights. So you have to look at what is that value that I'm going to offer. A lot of people will look at it sometimes, from a very, face value perspective and say, value needs to be, I've brought in 50 million shillings of business. But there are other soft items within that value system that you can pick and own, right? It doesn't have to be, I'm the business, my role is business development, therefore, if I can't do that, I'll never make money. There are other ways that value system complements to everyone within the industry. So in any industry, we operate like that. I've had people say, but I don't sit in there's this conversation of I sit in a revenue center and I sit in a cost center, a cost center. Now, if you sit in a cost center, which is mostly back office, people will say HR, IT services, admin, People will say, but I don't contribute to the revenue. You actually do contribute to the revenue because if you offer the revenue drivers the right support, right, they get closer to the profit or to the value that the company needs to unlock, so everyone is happy. So that's how I look at that compensation, and I've always fought on that value as opposed to time-based, right? Because the thing about time-based, it's not felt because you're slogging by yourself. It's like you're on a treadmill, right? And you do if you're walking on a treadmill, they tell you've walked 1.2 kilometers.
Right.
Well, you've not walked 1.2 kilometers.
Yeah.
It's not,
Right.
real, right?
Right.
So that time perspective, yes, it's good to put in time, but always put in time against a value and growing towards increasing that value.
Yeah.
So you not just sit in time and waiting for it to mature.
Yeah.
It's not a bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But practically, what's it like to have that conversation with your boss? Like, what's it like to have a conversation with your boss in HR and say, look, you're
Well,
paying
I don't
me...
think, a lot of HR units are not structured to have value-based conversations because they are working towards they call themselves human resource units. They are focusing on, the health of the employee so that the company is not impacted. So the best thing is to always align to your boss. I'm a huge fan in understanding your boss's goals personally, his personal goal, and his vision for the company and how it lends to his personal goal. So if your boss wants to drive a Porsche, and he says, because of the bonus I'm going to unlock, understand how he wants to get to that level, and then start working towards helping him get there. Because what he's going to do is you're going to see the value that you're bringing to his personal goal. Remember, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all have our goals to achieve, and we know we don't carry along dead weight. People will carry along people who they can see that the tip of the mountain is getting closer, right? That's how you approach it. Therefore, you have to break down. You have to break down how you relate to your seniors and to the people that can help you unlock value. It can't be email conversations. It has to be, you have to appeal to them on a human perspective. Then once it gets to now getting to numbers that need to be documented, then now you can go into a corporate setting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think? Because I guess, in terms of the alignment and understanding your person's goals, that's great. But what do you think it is that you had that allowed you to stand apart from, I guess, your peers and everyone else sort of within your space? And in addition to that, at what point in your career path or your career journey was there like a key turning point?
Discipline is one. For you to be able to be alive to the conversations of value, understanding the dynamics of that value system and assign the product. You have to have a discipline that allows you to have enough time to consume all this, right? And not to say that I'm the most disciplined person, it's just discipline in terms of the processes that I undertook, discipline to completion of projects, discipline to learn new things. I always want to learn new things. I want to unlearn things as well, and that allows me to now be able to leapfrog through multiple things. And the turning point for me was maybe 32 or something. Working with multiple countries to deliver a solution, right? Then now you're able to realize that I can be able to spread my wings across a continent, right? And that's when I was like, oh, okay, now we're talking, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about, you said, again, before, I don't know actually if it was onset or not, but you talked about the purchase that you made for where you live, your house. When do you make that, purchase? At what time frame in your career? And what are the things that you consider?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when I used to live in Hurlingham, I used to live in a one bed, nice one bed. And it was very close to my former workplace. It was nicely built. So it used to be a proper bachelor pad. Loved it. Then COVID happened. So I had to work from home. And I hated it. I hated the apartment. Because the apartment was on the 5th floor. It's the balcony was windy as hell. And you're in the house for sometimes even 48 hours. There's lockdown. I think when curfew was at 7 p.m. So I used to get so stressed. I used to be depressed being in that space. So I used to go to my friend's house just so I could be outside and step on grass. I was literally losing my mind. It was either, I'm constantly, you become like you're partying all the time, or you have to find a balance. Then this opportunity came up, and I looked at it. My friends and I went down to see it, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is perfect, but it's so far. It's so far." And in my head that time, and there was no road to the
house.
To the house.
Yeah.
I was like, I used to drive an Outback. I was like, you know what are Outbacks made for? Bundu bashing. Yeah, I'll do it. Did the math, quickly realized I need to liquidate a bunch of things because there's so many. I had to buy equity into the property for me to be able to get an offer letter. So we went to Nanyuki again. If anyone is from Mount Kenya Homes, they know me very well. Went to Nanyuki, and that's when the decision was made. Came back and started the process. So to get to that level, there needed to be an asset base that can be liquidated. And because I'd really fucked up with this, trying to run these small businesses, there's a time I really ate quails, the business, the market one day just woke up and
they were not interested in quails anymore.
Yeah, you eat those birds so much,
Yeah.
So because of that mess, I completely stopped doing any business, and I said, let me use the bank and the bank products, and that worked really well because I had a very good credit profile. Yes. So, and that allowed me now to make that decision quite quickly. And liquidating it was not a factor of, me chasing someone with title deeds or anything. It was just the bank, the same transaction, same bank, same person doing it. Yeah.
Did you think possibly about I guess the fact that this house you've now put all your or a good amount of capital in this house,
Yeah.
so you are not liquid anymore. You talked about it literally being during COVID. Were
Yeah.
you secure enough at the time in being like, no, I know my job is going to be there for X amount. This is not gonna
Not
be.
really. So, in fact, when I moved in, the day I moved in, so there's a lot of work that had to be done.
Yeah.
So I was moving from a 1-bed to a 4-bed. There's a lot of work that had to be done. And I used to live in a fitted house. So things like, stove tops
Right.
and microwaves and those things, ovens, were owned by the apartment.
Yeah.
So I had to buy those things. And I was shocked. So that now
At how
be-
expensive that bill comes
I
to.
became my own procurement person.
Yeah.
I know corners in this town, where you can get a lot of things at a very good price. But that's what hit me, because I was like, shit, I didn't really think through this bit of the moving. And then because I'm working from home, I didn't want, to be in the middle of a meeting and I'm dealing with a fundi or whatever it is. So I decided, let me do everything at once. So when the day I move in, there's no more work going on. I moved in on a Sunday, and then the movers were like, so to buy your food. I was like, oh shit, yeah, it's courteous, right?
Yeah.
So I go to my app.
Yeah.
I was like, am I buying food? Am I buying tokens? So I called my pal. I said, hey, my guy, send me 10 G's. And Monday was payday. And Tuesday was a holiday. No, which holiday comes on the 20th?
20th is.
It wasn't a payday.
Yeah.
No, it was.
Payday is 17th, so yeah.
I moved in the middle of the year. So
Right.
yes, payday was, I think, 2 days later.
Right.
So for 2 days, I'm in a new house. I couldn't buy gas. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So from that month, I was like, now I'm going to become my own frugal accountant. I was like, we have to put away enough nest to make sure that if the job goes, the house is paid and I have sustenance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like that's like a real bachelor move. So
you
for the first 2 days you're there.
And it's so funny because when my sister came, so she came with her boyfriend, and so it was a holiday, I think. Was it a holiday? But they came midweek. Why am I forgetting these things? Anyway.
It was COVID. COVID was like a fluid.
They came to the house, and she was like, yeah, you're not drinking? And I was like, girl. Hapa, it's either we drink, or we eat.
Yeah.
It's either or.
Yeah.
There's no drinking and eating at the same time.
It's one or the other.
Yeah. She was like, well, but now things, they did get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A question around, again, agency model.
Yeah.
Agency business model.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of chatter around, agency business model is dying, or it's been hit, and, it's taking, percentages have dropped from 20%, and now we're doing between 16 to 18.
Yeah.
And, then there's all the pop-ups of all the new, sort of younger agencies coming up. Yeah. Is there still enough money in the market, do you think?
Yep.
And what is it that you feel, I guess, agencies haven't quite got right?
It has to be the culture of how we price creative work. That has to change. It's going to be painful for, I guess, a lot of clients and brands. You have to change the model. You can't we can't be pricing time put in to a creative brief, because that's illogical. It ends up you're not pricing the right thing. You can't price. Those are processes you price in a manufacturing unit. If I'm producing 50,000 bottles of mineral water, the machine will not fail. It's timed to produce as much. And so therefore I can say I'm selling 10,000 bottles or 50,000 bottles because I'm sure that they'll be produced. Now, for creative work, it has to be based on, you have to go back to a rather old model that used to work in America, where you say, this is what you've asked me to do. You've asked me for a poster. You've asked me for a TVC. You've asked me for a billboard, da da da. It will cost you $4,000 because that's what I think it costs. And if you ask me for inputs, what are the inputs that got me to $4,000? I would say my creative director, da 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 da. It stops there. Now, if you start breaking down to time, then that becomes a problem because I can argue, but on this other time, you gave it to me at less hours. So why is it expensive now? But you see, the creative process has to be respected. Whether it comes to me in 2 minutes, whether it comes to me in 2 weeks, right? It's still my brain power. So I'm pricing that output based on that. That's the model that everyone has to force. And if we get, if we get strong organizing bodies, societies or, practitioners associations, if we get them to come in and start fighting towards a model that's sustainable for everyone, then there's going to be, an uptake in terms of revenues. But at the moment, in terms of competition, healthy competition is fantastic. It allows people to have different points of view on different products. It allows us to look at fantastic work. I still believe Kenya has fantastic creatives, has fantastic work. And if you look at the creative culture, from music to film to, like visual arts, it's thriving, right? So you can't say there's a saturation. So for agencies, there's still a lot more to be done. Yes, there's been a downturn in terms of spend, but it just has to be, if I offer you the best, I will take.
So are you saying then, rather than a commission model, move to a
commissions don't make sense to me. Commissions don't make sense to me because a commission is a sliding scale, right? And commissions are easy to abuse. I'll give you 10,000 today, then tomorrow I'll give you 5,000, and the commission structure is still the same. I'm making the same 10%, So it should be, if you cut your budget, my commission rises, right? Because I'm not paying people on commission.
It's a fixed cost.
It's a fixed cost. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your new role seems to be leading towards influencer relations management and, I guess working with influencers in that sense. First of all, you said you wanted to be out of work for a year. So what changed?
Well, so one of the pain points with influencer marketing is ROI for brands, right? In standards and, big ticket thinking. So it's not just, copy pasting a billboard into socials. So, and when these guys came around and, I've seen the platform, I've seen the capabilities the platform can deliver. So it's almost influencer marketing automated, right? There are different self-serve products for brands. There is, the platform can do so much for you, in terms of getting the right person for you, so that you're not going into a situation where there's apathy of the influencer you've chosen because the influencer is possibly working on 50 different things. But then the platform allows you to discover people who are bubbling under, they're producing good content, because the metric is engagement and based on recall, right? So if this person you might find someone has fantastic engagement, fantastic recall, but they're not a popular face, or they're not visible to a lot of people, but they have that core audience that really does listen to them. So that's what a platform like IndaHash allows you to do, to go in and search as deep as you can with as many varied entries, to clean out that search, that filter. So, and that industry has a lot of potential. It's just that the people who have been jaded, you've maybe worked on 1 or 2 briefs where you were expecting things to completely blow up and they didn't. Or there were disappointments in terms of delivery or the quality. So a few people will push back and say, I tried this thing, it's not working for me, right? It just needs a sense of automation. It's like where performance marketing was a few years back. performance marketing without context of proper landing pages, wasn't delivering for a lot of people. But now there are people who truly believe that performance marketing can drive, serious profits for business.
Yeah.
So that's where we want to take influencer marketing for Indahash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that any AI, artificial intelligence, and any of that would be a big disruptor for human influencers?
No.
No.
No. You see, humans listen to humans. There's language that humans listen to. There's warmth in how we speak to each other. AI will not deliver that. Not now and not in the near future.
Really? Do you don't think so?
No. You see, think of it. Who's your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian?
Yeah.
Probably Dave Chappelle.
Okay, why do you love Dave Chappelle?
Oh, I think his takes are witty. I think they're honest. I think they're truthful, and I don't think he tries to reach. I don't think he tries to reach too far. Try and get a point across. Yeah.
So think about it from this perspective.
Yeah.
For him to be witty, for him to be on point, he has to live in a real universe.
Yeah.
He has to speak to real people. He has to observe real moments.
Yeah.
He has to be able to internalize those real moments against lived history.
Yeah.
That's what makes him a good comedian.
Yeah.
And more importantly, delivery. Yes. So do you think a robot can do that for you?
I don't know. I see all of these different
See,
algorithms
think about
being
it,
put in.
like ChatGPT now is using information from what, 2021?
Yeah, up to 20. Yeah.
September 2021?
Yeah.
So if ChatGPT was to make a joke about Kamala Harris and how she speaks and her there's that hair that she has,
Yeah.
really good hair. There's a name for it, I forget. Anyway, the joke would be flat because then ChatGPT would refer to Kamala Harris from her days as a prosecutor, her days as a senator.
Yeah.
So the whole VP thing would not land properly.
Yeah.
And that's where most of all the content that would make people resonate and laugh has come from.
Yeah.
Right? Because she wasn't that well known before.
Yeah.
So, see?
I don't know. I feel like time will tell. There's a video that Vusi has done.
Yeah.
Where he speaks about the fact that he was talking about AI like 3-4 years ago, and he was saying, "Oh, AI will never do this, never do that," and then now he's like, "Yeah, I was wrong. I was I was wrong." I
There
don't
are
know.
things that even with advertising, there was this whole conversation that AI is going to disrupt advertising because now all these chatbots can write copy, right? Now, what was this? Mpango wa Kando, fantastic. I remember that. Was a really good line done by a guy called Tony Njuguna for Trust Condoms. Now, for AI to get to the level of understanding the culture,
nuances, right?
and the lexicon around what a Mpango wa Kando is, it would not happen, right? If it didn't exist on the internet, if someone had not written about it, so it will not get to that level. It might. What I tell people about things like can I use a chatbot to write copy? It can help you structure, your thoughts towards a space, but you have to still go in and do a lot of the work to clean it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be write for me 5 tweets for FX Pesa. Frankie was the guest. How do I introduce him? Write for me those 5 tweets. Who the fuck is Frankie? Even if you put my full name, it will give you, things from the internet about maybe my awards, trolled from the website. Nothing will be it won't be exciting. Yeah.
Okay.
You just sound like those guys on LinkedIn. Who just say, I am. What's that's the one I hate? I am. No, it's So when people, I'm happy to announce that I have been selected by the esteemed members of. No one real speaks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't go around saying was like esteemed unless you're reading it from a
Script or
a
something.
script.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not human language.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
But still, you were supposed to be out of work for a year
Yeah.
based on your plan, but it's only been a couple of months. What was the key driver for that?
For being out.
For going back
for
sooner
going
than
back
a year.
Sooner
Yeah.
than when I interacted with the InterHash platform, I was like, I want in. I want to go into the new year with the platform.
Okay.
And it's an exciting time. They have an exciting team as well. But, the whole break again will maybe come in another couple of years. But now I'm ready. And I feel like I've spent enough time away from, an ecosystem that sort of shields you from, a lot of real life people, multiple industries. I feel like I have a better grasp of a lot of things. Now it's time to go back and produce new products.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have to apply for it, or was it headhunting? Did they look for you?
So, so when I left my former employer, I had to clean out my LinkedIn. So, and though all these alerts that were coming in, so I saw the alert one day, and I did something called an easy apply.
Yes, yeah. The one that just sends you straight.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was like, cool. I didn't even have an updated CV, so I was like, where's my CV? Then 2 days later, I get a call. Or it wasn't a call, I got an email. Then they're like, can we speak? I was like, okay, cool, let's speak. We spoke. Then an hour later after we spoke, they reached out again to say, can you meet our leadership in the next 2 days? I was like, okay, cool. So I met them, and they were quiet for 2 months. Then one day they just wrote and said, so now you're joining us. This is what we need from you. I was reading the email. I was like, oh my God, okay. I was like, shit, I've just committed to a
Going back
month.
to work, yeah.
I was doing something for a month. I was like, okay. So I said, we'll join after I'm done.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. But it wasn't a money driver or anything.
No.
Yeah.
You see, when you get to a certain point, you have to look at also starting to build a legacy of success. You want to be, when you remember that case, that book, I think it was by Malkiat Singh, where they had staircases.
Yes,
for
yes,
class
yeah,
1,
yeah,
class 2.
yeah.
So that's how you start looking at it. You want to build higher and higher. And you have a portfolio of successful products and successful campaigns, and a portfolio of connections that can deliver for you as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess as we wrap up, I want to talk to you about something else. I guess I'll title it "Deals Too Good to Be, Too Good to Not Take." And I guess I'll ask, how. Let me figure out how I'm going to ask this question. How do you know that a deal is too good to pass up? In your experience?
Wow. Because I've had a few lucky ones. Trying to. If I can't stop thinking about it once I'm told, and if it's crystal clear on process and how to get in. I'm not a fan of complexities. So if it's, okay, listen, here is, we can make 10% if we do 1, 2, 3. That process is very clear. And I know who the stakeholders are within that process. That one, I'm always like, Ndani, I won't even ask many questions. But if it's a bit complex and the person can't explain it in the first meeting, I'm like, no. it's not giving me joy. If it excites me, but the process is clear, I'll go for it. If it excites me, but the process is, I'm always like question marks. You know, you're like, you said how this is done, how, you know, then I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
So it has to be excitement and a very clear process.
Okay.
And I can tell you, process really helps in deals, because you don't want to burn your fingers because you overlooked something. I've lost a lot of money based on, you know, that excitement of, Ati, how much? Super. You know, I once got into a product where everyone was like, we're making so much cash. And it was a very volatile product. And I got a statement. And I looked at the statement and I was like, I think they've sent me the wrong one. Then I was told, didn't you read volatility in the affects the product? I was like, when did you tell me this? They're like, in the meeting. I was like, hey, that bit.
You didn't hear that bit.
I didn't hear that bit. I just had the possible monthly, you know, every month you're making 8%.
Yeah. Was it one of these whatevers? What are they called? World Ventures.
First of all, World Ventures owes me like $430. And I was you see, this is why deals, you have to really think through. This deal, the World Venture deal, was sold to me by a friend.
But it's always
whose sister was in the deal.
Yeah.
And we went to Olive Garden. It's called Olive Garden in Kilimani.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's near your house. I'm like, it's easy. I go in and I see all these people there. I'm like, okay, what's this about? This is, a crusade. And they really pitched it. I was like, fantastic. In fact, what I did, I put in my credit card. So there was an initial, I think, like $250 that was checked out immediately.
Yeah.
Then monthly, putting in like I think $50 or $80. Got to a point I was like, wait a minute. I look at now the terms and conditions. I'm like,
and you had no people beneath you who could give you.
You see, now I didn't know I had to recruit.
Oh.
I was just thinking, I'm in.
And the money is set up.
I trust my friend.
Yeah.
Hey.
You were being recruited.
I was being recruited into their family pyramid. Because now the sister was the one who was at the top. She's recruited sister. Sister's recruited boyfriend. Then I'm in the mix.
Yeah.
So I'm contributing toward
someone else's chums.
Yeah. I cancelled that subscription so fast. They're now trying to claim my money back.
Yeah.
You can't. It's
gone. You can't.
And I was annoyed. In fact, I used to drive past that Olive Garden, and I get bile. I'm like, wow. I'm like, that day I should just have gone to Mercury and spent all money
and finished it there.
Yes, because being scammed is quite something.
Yeah.
Funny one on tenders. So a friend of mine calls me and says, oh, there's this tender. I'm in the tender, but I need to pay for, I think, tender security. Please, just, spot me the cash. We're going to sort this thing out. I'm like, what's the value of the tender? How do you know this person? Oh, give me a long story. I was like, oh, cool. How much is it? 25K. Cool. And my thinking was, that's the easiest 100 Gs I'll ever make. Hey, 2 days later, the guy calls me and says, don't be angry. I was like, don't shout. I'm like, get to the point. Those guys are scammers. I'm like, where's my 25K?
They can be scammers, but where's my 25 Gs?
The guy is like, even the phone is off. I'm like, you were dealing with them over the phone. He's like, oh, there was an email. I'm like, forward the email to me. So I see the name of the institution. I called the front desk. I'm like, is there a man called? that chick was like, oh God, that guy is back. He's been scamming people. He's been scamming people for like 5 years about giving them tenders. So I called my friend. I said, my guy, now you owe me money.
Yeah.
He's like, but we were equal partners. I'm like, what? I was like, shit, I'll never trust tenderpreneurs. So now, unless I see it in the papers
Yeah.
and there's a whole document, I can never give anyone money
Yeah.
to go into tendering. Nah. Let me drive my small car,
Yeah.
live my small life.
It's fine.
If tenders are what going to make me drive my dream car, no, let it stay being a dream car. I don't want that stress.
Okay, so you've talked about, I guess, in the next couple of years wanting to achieve a certain legacy for your career.
Yeah.
Financially, what are you looking to try and achieve in the next couple of years? What would actually, let me ask you, what would failure look like? If you failed in the next couple of years, what would that look like?
Not being able to live in Nanyuki. Yeah, that I'm a huge fan of space. I feel like I want to, in the next couple of years, maybe 50, 60, on a small ranch, not ranching, because I don't want to get into those things. And every bill is taken care of, regardless of, a paycheck coming in. So every bill that needs to be sorted, that's what feels like success to me. That I can sit and I don't have to think about, let me chase a certain check so that I can sort out school fees, I can sort out a car payment. That's what my goal for wealth is. I don't have to chase a paycheck because money has been working for me to cover all my bills and allow me flexibility to now do random shit. If I break an iPhone, I'm not walking around with a techno with bladders. I can buy one the next.
Why is it
morning.
not the iPhone in a bladder? Why is it a techno in a bladder?
Because I've not seen an iPhone with bladders. Because I don't know. They break and they break.
Fair, fair.
Yeah. So that's what being able to make a snap decision on a large purchase without really thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The life that you're living now,
Yeah.
did you see yourself, if you're going back to 17, 18-year-old did you see yourself being able to live this life?
No. Not from by a long shot.
Yeah.
I was going to be a nice church boy. Now maybe, I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
So if you were to say between God, luck, hard work, who do you attribute?
So God for my existence.
Okay.
Luck for the moments I was with specific people in specific places for me to be able to achieve and unlock several opportunities. And hard work all through when I spotted those opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was Frankie. I've enjoyed this conversation. I think we've learned a thing or two, picked a couple of things. I will come back to you. I feel AI is going to make something. So when it happens, I'll be the first person to go here and be like, see, I told you.
Maybe we'll be in the same, cell because now all these robots have arrested us.
Maybe.
And we're their slaves.
Maybe.
We're being released into our blocks to come and record podcasts for them and go back. That's a possibility as well.
Yeah. I mean, do you know we have sports leagues that are purely AI generated, like purely AI?
They must sound.
I mean, yeah, it sounds, but you see, I feel like it sounds like that because you've grown with an existence of human interaction. Like, if people being born now, like what you're introduced to,
is
like
it doesn't change.
So, for example,
Yeah.
did you ever picture,
Yeah.
or early on in video games, did
Yeah.
you ever think
Yeah.
that there are going to be people who are just going to watch other people
Playing video
games?
games.
Like,
Not
just
really.
yeah.
But you see, gosh, do you listen to NPR? Yeah, that the richness of people's voices is why people listen to things like NPR. There's a way they I don't know if it's training or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They say things.
Yeah.
I don't see that ever being replaced.
Yeah.
I want to hear that person's smacks. You know, they don't
Yeah.
exist in a perfect universe because
Yeah.
AI is perfection.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why everyone's avatars on LinkedIn that have what generated by AI.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, you're going to start hating yourself because my guy, your skin will never look like that.
Yeah.
You'll never be that toned. So,
Yeah.
so it's not natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will debate. We will fight on that one when it comes. Anyway, that was Frankie. We had a really good time today.
for having
Yeah, I hope you're gonna be there for our event. Remember, 24th of November. It's a Friday. It's from 4 p.m. at
Yeah,
Skate.
I've actually never been
Skate
there,
City.
so I hope I'll be able to skate as well.
Yeah, I've never been there. I actually don't know how to skate. We'll find out
It's
on
like
the
riding
day.
a bicycle, apparently. So it's a few falls, then you get used to it.
We'll see. Anyway, yes, that was that. We'll see you guys on the next episode.